Hey there everyone, it's me again, Vicious Panda 37, and today I want to talk about Apex Legends. It's the new game from Respawn and EA. Now if that gives you some trepidation, that's understandable, but we're going to take a close look at it and see what it's about. So to start at the beginning, Respawn originally brought out a game called Titanfall, and follow-up Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2 was an excellent game. The first game was good, but the second one really knocked it out of the park. Basically, you're a soldier with access to giant mechanical robots that drop in from orbit, and you fight against some bad guys. It's pretty cool. You've got a number of different mechs that you can control, each with different powers and different weapon configurations and things like that. You can hop in and out of the mechs and run around on the ground, right on top of somebody else's mech or your own mech. You can still direct your mech to do things. It's a really excellent game. It has some of the best movement options. You've got a wall running system that allows you to sort of parkour over things and climb and grapple, and it's quite fast paced. So it's a really excellent game. We're all hoping for a Titanfall 3. They've been silent for some time. But out of the blue, they dropped Apex Legends on us. Now, this is a Battle Royale style game. It's very popular at the moment with a lot of people. In full honesty, I'm not a huge fan of the Battle Royale genre, and I'm frankly getting a bit frustrated with sort of everything being Battle Royale. Some of the more recent games like COD now that came out with their own version of Battle Royale, it really didn't encourage me to rush out and buy the game. But I can say that as this game is free to play, that's certainly a step in the right direction. This has certainly been one of the more novel launches that we've seen lately, especially to have no kind of real marketing attached to it. But I think it's probably a really great way to get people into the game. It's just give it to them and let them see how it goes. And let's be honest, EA could do to earn some goodwill as well, so that's not so bad. One really good thing about the game being free also is I think it offsets the microtransactions. Generally, I think it's a bit of a tough ask to buy a AAA game for $60 to $100 and then have to shell out on microtransactions on top of that. There are microtransactions in this game, but fortunately they are only cosmetic, and you can earn the things through the game as well. So far it's just been a few skins and stuff like that. There are a couple of characters that you need to unlock, and so far the progression is pretty slow, so I would say the game is quite grindy if you're going to earn anything. So there's definitely the impetus there to have to shell money out if you want to unlock characters and things like that. Skins and things are not so much. So the game plays really well. The controls are quite similar to Titanfall. There is a sliding mechanic which helps speed up moving around, particularly the way the maps are designed to, where a lot of the maps flow down into sort of a bowl area, so you can slide in from the outbound area edge of the map into the center fairly quickly, and it helps you to get around. There are also some other mechanics depending on which character you play. There are 6 characters available, and 2 additional that are locked initially, for a total of 8. I'm guessing there'll probably be more characters in the future. It seems likely. The UI has certainly allowed plenty of extra space for adding more characters. Now each of the characters have different sets of skills. There's attacking characters, defending type characters, and support characters. One of the characters, Pathfinder, has a zip line, which is quite good for providing mobility options for members of the team. You can throw out a zip line between 2 locations. He's also got a grapple. So there are various things in there that can affect the gameplay, and if you work together you can support your team. Each team that you have when you're playing is a group of 3. So you can have one of each class, or any configuration you like there. And generally you're advised to try and play together against multiple other teams that are in there. I think they call them squads. So initially, when you get match made into a game, you get assigned players for your squad, or you can go in with a couple of other friends. The arrangement is random, and I think the third person in the group is always the jump master who gets to pick where you land, although you can choose to give that choice over to somebody else in the team if you want to do that. You can pick a various location and then you jump from the shuttle and sort of rocket down to wherever you are. Then it's a mad scramble to find weapons and bits of equipment and things like that, and hopefully you don't run into another squad before you're fully equipped up. There's quite a range of locations. They're probably not as crazily varied as something like Fortnite, but there are still the map layout is really well thought out. I think there's quite a few choke points and things like that, and spaces you can move between. You can go into building spaces and shut doors and things like that to provide some kind of cover. So there's some quite good design thoughts in there. There's also some vertical zip lines that are attached to balloons, so you can go straight up those, leap off them, and basically go back into a glide as well to allow you to traverse large areas of the map. The game also has its version of the storm from Fortnite, which is the ring. It's kind of like a shield bubble thing that closes in around you. As usual, the mechanism is there purely just to force all the groups together into the same zone, and of course as the zones decrease over time, it will gradually push everybody together so that you can find each other and ideally get down to whoever the last squad is standing. One of the systems that I do think is really fantastic in this game, and it's probably unique to this battle royale style game, is the ping system, whereby you can look at things and ping them and mark them, and it will call them out to the other team members. So you can say, oh, here's a cache of weapons here, or here's a particular gun here, or I've spotted an enemy over there. This is really great because you don't necessarily have to use a microphone and chat software to talk to other members in your group. Some people don't have microphones, so it's a really good way to at least be able to communicate in the game, and it's certainly something I would have liked to have seen put into Destiny, because I find it very, very difficult to match up with a group or with other people to play with. So that's a really awesome thing. The UI and stuff in the game as well is really well thought out, really smart. Things like when a team member is firing, there's like a little muzzle flash around the team member's icon so you can see who's firing and things like that. There's been a lot of attention to detail, just little things like color coding ammo for certain types of guns, or for having weapon callouts that show on the ammo so you know that this weapon or this ammo can go with stuff that you're carrying. It'll even go as far as to call out stuff that you're carrying that you have no use for at all, so you don't need to be carrying around unwanted inventory everywhere. The weapons seem reasonably well thought out and reasonably effective. There's different classes of guns, anything from pistols through to heavy assault rifles and sniper guns, but there are no rocket launchers or anything like that I've seen in the game, so it doesn't seem to have anything that does a lot of splash damage. You do have grenades and things like that. They're quite effective as well. The Arc Star from Titanfall is there, and they do explode, but you're certainly not going to take out a whole swarm of guys from across the map. Equipment is available in different rarities, so common through to legendary. You will very, very rarely see a legendary item which is coloured yellow. It's usually something that's a bit special, but I have seen purple body armour and things like that. Purple body armour usually makes you fairly well indestructible. I mean, you're not completely indestructible, but you certainly will take a heck of a lot of damage before going down, so keep an eye out for the purple stuff if you can. One thing that is particularly good about this game is that you can fall from a great height and not sustain any damage. I think it was a really good choice that you don't have to worry about taking damage while you're just moving around. Damage purely just comes from being attacked by another player, so that's a really good thing. You can get killed pretty quickly by other players though, and sometimes, depending on how your luck, if you happen to land somewhere and there's somebody else around, or you didn't manage to find a gun or something, you can be in big trouble really quickly and the game can be over pretty fast. I've certainly had that happen a few times now, and I generally find the best tactic is just to stay the flip away from everyone for as long as you can and let them wail on each other. So, I've been overwhelmingly positive about Apex Legends so far. That's probably a first for me. So, what can I find that's negative to say about the game? Well, it's Battle Royale. I'm not a huge fan of it. I know a lot of people aren't huge fans of it, and some people are, and that's fine. I personally, I've been really racking my brain to try and figure out what it is I don't like about Battle Royale, and I think the thing that kind of really annoys me is the fact that you can get killed pretty quickly, and then you're basically just stuck there. So you've either got to sit there and spectate for hours, or you got to quit out and start again. So I know that's kind of the meta of the game, but I find that's a bit irritating. I guess that's why I prefer deathmatch type games. You know, you get killed, you respawn, you go again. You know, at least then you're playing the game, and I don't feel like you're being, you know, booted out of playing the game. So I don't know if that's something that they could address. I've been racking my brains to try and think of ways that you could improve that, but I don't have any answers at the moment. Maybe you had a mechanism where you die and the you know, it just spawns you to a new instance of the game automatically instead of having to go back through the menu system and everything else. I don't know. Maybe that would be better. Let me know what you think if you've got any ideas, or what bothers you about the Battle Royale genre if you're not that into it either. I do have to say though, this is probably one of the better games. I do really like the matchmaking. I do like that it hooks me up with people to play with. I've played with some really cool people. I've played with some people that have just, you know, run off and dumped me the second we got on the map. You know, mileage may vary, and I guess that's one of the things that I find difficult about multiplayer sometimes. Other people's ability to impact on the game that you're trying to enjoy. I generally try to, I guess I lone wolf things more myself, but or, you know, I like a single player campaign, so I'm not really that into multiplayer either. But yeah, this has been pretty good, and there's been some pretty good mechanisms in there as well, I think, to encourage some cooperative play as well. It's not to say that they're perfect. Things like the respawn mechanism, I frequently don't get retrieved to get respawned. They just kind of abandon you and take off, so I don't know that that's great. And I don't often get healed by people as well. It's not to say that it doesn't happen. I do occasionally get healed, and very rarely I get respawned. But generally, once I'm down, that's it. So I find that's a bit difficult to have to sit around watching other people, hoping that you might get brought back into the game again. But you know, generally you don't. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have a heck of a lot to complain about. Oh, I suppose the other thing, actually no, one more thing. I guess one thing I'm a little bugged about still is the microtransactions. Now, the fact the game is free has kind of largely lessened that, so that's fine to a point. But I am finding the game is quite grindy, and it certainly doesn't pay out a lot of resources for you to be able to earn things. Some of those, you know, skins and things like that, they are a lot of resources before you can get a skin, and it really doesn't pay a heck of a lot of those out. I've also heard that it only pays out in Apex box, the free Apex boxes up to about level 50, and then after that you're on your own. You're pretty much down to just buying them. So I don't think that's great. But, you know, we kind of suspected that's what EA was up to. They'd be doing something to try and drive you to spend money on it. So I guess we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll see what happens. The fact that the loot boxes are probably some of the most expensive loot boxes on any of this kind of game. Certainly, I don't think they're as good value as Fortnite. They're certainly getting up there, but in terms of what the boxes pay out as well, they're not super great. So I guess we'll watch the space and see how that situation pans out over time. Okay, well, that pretty much covers everything about the game at the moment. It'll be interesting to see what sort of add-ons come out, whether there's any changes to the map or additions to the map. Doubtless there'll be extra players, I'm guessing, at some point. But I guess to summarise, check it out. Go and download the game. It's free. It's available on PC, PlayStation and Xbox. And give it a go. You might like it, you might not like it, that's fine. But at the end of the day, it's not costing you anything to give it a suck and see, so check it out. So hey, if you enjoyed this review and you found it of interest, could you please click on the subscribe button and click the little bell so that you get notified of any other videos that I put out. I'm trying to do more gaming reviews. I've also put up some live streams. And I have a few other different kinds of videos and things that I put up, sometimes about travel, sometimes about drones and things like that. So if any of those things interest you, you can cast your eye across them and see what you think. And as always, please leave some comments in that below. I try to reply to them, and let me know if you have any thoughts about the game. Alright, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.